Hello and welcome back. Finally, we are filming this video for our top spots in the Azores, as well as our budget costing of how much everything cost us. So I've roped Nick in here. You can see he's really happy about this, but he knows all the details as he's the one that planned it. So we do need him as much as he hates being here. Right, I think we start with the costing. So first up is flights. So we are subscribed to something called Jack's Flights. If you're not subscribed, you should subscribe.
Jack's Flight Club.
And it's how much for the year?
I think I pay £45 a year, but it might be up more at 50 now.
But it's definitely
It's
worth it.
Yes.
Because the discount that you get on the first flights that you buy from there is more than the £50. So it's worth it. And they give you flights to all destinations, not just like Asia and foreign places. There's ones for European locations.
Yep, they just find all the cheapest deals they can around the world.
Exactly. So this is how we land up. So Nick and I have always wanted to go to the Azores, but this deal came up on Jack's Flights, which was a direct flight from London to the Azores, São Miguel Island, and that's why we booked it. So how much did it cost us?
For two of us, it was £383.
And
so
that
like 190-ish each.
And that was a direct flight, which was about 4 hours. Otherwise, you have to go to Portugal and then catch a flight from Portugal.
Yeah, you usually go TAP Air, but they always have a connecting flight in Portugal first.
And we didn't want to do that. We wanted to get there as quick as possible, so we don't waste our time. And all we had was hand luggage. So it was a carry-on and a rucksack or whatever. But that was enough for the week.
Yeah.
Right. Next up is the car. There was multiple different car options, but you got one for actually really cheap. It was really convenient. They pick you up from the airport, they take you to the car place, you get the car, obviously have a look around your car, take a film, pictures, and then you drop the car back there, and then they take you back to the airport. What was weird is that you have to wash the car before taking it back. I've hired cars before and I've never had that before, but that was strange.
Yeah, it was a bit annoying.
But it was cheap. So how much was the car?
We had a small SUV for £102, which was the same price as if you were having like a small hatchback.
You might as well get the small SUV because you needed the clearance.
You want the ground clearance on some of the roads that you're driving on.
And we had to obviously fill the car up. We only used half the tank, and that cost us how much to fill up? It was like £40.
The fuel plus washing the car was £41.
Which is nothing.
For a week of drive. I can't remember any miles, but it was like 400 miles, I think I remember us saying.
But we covered the entire island. So if you're going to do that, and anyway, we covered the entire island. What else was I going to say about the car? You have to be a confident driver. Nick disagrees with me. Nick thinks that anyone can drive there, but I think if I was driving, I would have caused accidents. The roads are windy and they are narrow in places and they are steep. Don't be fooled by what this guy's going to say to you. Nick had the best time because he's a confident and great driver. But if it was me, I would have freaked out. So if you're going to get a car, get the maximum insurance you can get of coverage.
No.
Nick, imagine me driving there.
You can avoid. So the only difficult bits are the really switchbacky roads down from like the top down to the coast, but you can avoid them by parking up in the car park at the top and then walking down, which is what most people do.
Yes, but we are lazy.
But because I'm confident enough to do these switchback roads, going down's alright, it's coming back up because you can't have the inside wheel up in the air spinning because you can't get up, you haven't got traction. But you also need a manual car to be able to do that. If you're in an automatic, don't even bother trying.
So there is a way around it, park at the top and walk down.
But speaking of insurance...
we have to pay insurance for the car. So we didn't take the insurance that the car place offers you. We got our own insurance because Nick found it for really cheap.
£14 for the week through, I think I booked it through booking.com, so I can't remember.
Which
I didn't write down.
We didn't have to claim, so we don't know how good of an insurance that is, but it covered everything, didn't it?
Yep.
So booking.com, get your insurance from there. And then we get onto the fun part, which I actually have all the details on, and that is hotels. So the first hotel we stayed in is Furnace Spring Lodge, and we booked that through booking.com. It was actually like an Airbnb. And I gave that a 6.5 out of 10, and I'll tell you why. I should give you the pricing first. So it was £97 per day, 96.66 per night. It had double story, and you got little like goodies when you came in. There was coffee, there was milks, there was little like Portuguese loaves, there was cookies there, and it was very clean, it was tidy. The location was great, it was within walking distance to everything. What we thought would be tricky was where you had to park, but it landed up being pretty easy. You could just park next to where the door is to enter. What more do you have to say from that?
Well, why is it only 6.5?
Why is it only a 6.5? Because it's not like it was like luxurious or wow. There wasn't a pool, there wasn't a spa, there wasn't an elite break. You know, it was a box standard Airbnb.
But you don't need that in Furnace.
Well,
because if you want a spa, just go to the hot springs.
Which I'll get onto, marked the other one that didn't have that higher because it was more modern, cleaner. It had the luxuries. That one, it wasn't like, it was box standard. It wasn't like...
Okay.
I think it was a great choice. It was a great choice, and I'll happily stay there again.
They had a little kitchen for you to cook.
Yes. Great choice, I'll happily stay there again. But it's not...
Because in Furnace, there wasn't a lot of choice of restaurants.
No, there wasn't.
And the ones that were there were quite expensive.
Yeah. So
having your own place to cook, there's like little supermarkets you can go and buy some food to cook in if you wanted to.
Yes. And that was really convenient about this place because it had quite a few different cooking things that you could use there. A 6.5 out of 10. How much would you give it out of 10?
I don't know. It's not lower than a 7 for me.
That's taking price into consideration as well.
That's a good price.
Okay,
compared to everything else in Furnace.
Right, we'll mark down. Let's go to the next.
You go look at the Terra Nostra price for it.
Oh, Terra Nostra, Nick!
That's what everyone goes in
Don't
Furnace.
take that. That's really like the most extortionary price hotel. Which we'll get onto. So our next hotel was our luxurious hotel, and that was Hotel Verde Mar and Spa. Mar and Spa, yeah, that is its name. And we booked that through booking.com as well. So we splurged on this one. It was basically double the price of the first one. It was £176, and per night. And I would give that a 5.5 out of 10.
Jesus.
Okay, let's give it a 6 out of 10. I'll tell you why, okay? I'll tell you why. The breakfast on the first day, banging. The breakfast on the second and third days, not banging.
Why?
Because they cut the pastries in half, the mushrooms weren't even close to as good, the quality just really went down. And you know how much I love my food. So that was my first one.
The breakfast was great.
It was average. It was average. That was my first one. Number 2, only half the spa was usable. The Turkish bath wasn't working. The sauna only worked for certain hours of the day, and the heated pool wasn't actually heated, and not all the bubbling things worked. Don't you look at me, it wasn't heated.
Are you mad? That pool was that's the hottest pool I've ever been in my
Nicholas, you are taking the piss.
This is why you can't do this video out plan.
I think it was average. You think otherwise. Plus, for how much you had to pay, the rooms were so average.
It's a very expensive hotel, but they've got no competition.
That's true. So for that area, there was nothing else you could really book. I would say the location was good. It was in walking distance to everything in Ribeira Grande. And you're opposite the Continental, which was one of my flaws, is that the balcony looks at Continental or car park. So for the price you pay, I don't think it's worth it.
Well, you've got to consider what other options there are.
True. There wasn't many other options.
In that area of the island.
Wasn't many other options, you're right. We'll then make it a 6. Right. Now my last one was my favourite one and the cheapest out of all 3. So this was the Azoriani City Hostel Ponta Delgada. Now Nick and I have never done a hostel, but after doing this one, I will happily do a hostel again. This was only £77 per night. The room was huge. It was clean. There was a kitchen for you to... Sorry, Pickle seen people and got excited. There was a kitchenette for you to cook. The only downfall is somebody stole some of our food, which we had in the fridge.
Yes,
but
they stole my sandwich.
Yes, but great location. You are in walking distance to everything. The issue with this hostel is where you have to park. So
Yes. Driving through.
Yeah, driving through that city was intense.
Yes.
It's like the roads, because everyone's parking on the roads, are extremely narrow, lots of one ways and very little parking, and there's lots more rules and regulations on parking there and how much you have to pay for parking, which everywhere else never had because they were not cities. But what we did was we found a free car park up the road, and we just put our car there and didn't move the car for the whole time we were there. Did I say it was £77 per night?
I made a private room, not a.
Yeah, we didn't share. We didn't have to share with anyone. It was a private room for just Nick and I. It was great. It was super modern, super clean. It was great. And even when we had troubles, because you have to use a code to get in, even when we had trouble using the code, it just stopped working for some reason. There was someone next door. The hotel next door can help you fix that because they are technically the same provider.
They're run by the same people.
And yeah, that one I gave 7.5 out of 10.
Harsh critic.
I am harsh, but at least you know which ones are good and which ones are bad. I would happily go back to the third one and the first one, but I would not pay the extortionary price for the second one unless I'm forced to. Now on to the good parts. Is there anything else I wanted to say?
You said that last time.
Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. This is the even better part. So this is our top 10 places to visit if you go to San Miguel. Now, we're not going to rate these on like which one's first, which one's second. We couldn't come to a conclusive decision on that one. So these are our top 10 and they're not ranked. They're just random. So my first one, which is the one that I trigger back to whenever I think of this holiday, is Ciudades. Any points on Ciudades? There's so much to do there. So there's so many places to go see there. There's the lake. You can actually walk to the viewpoints. I would say this is the most congested area though when it came to the walk. The other walks was like just Nick and I by ourselves, whereas this one was really busy, even though we went early morning. But if you watch that video, I give you a tip on where to go to get like private pictures rather than in the congested area that it takes you to, like the official site viewing area. I also rank this highly because in the actual Ciudades town, when you get to the it's not a canal. What did we go to? We had the picnic area.
The lake.
No, but what was that? The tunnel.
The water tunnel.
The water tunnel. Opposite the water tunnel is a picnic area, and it was so beautiful. And yeah, I loved it. That probably is, although I'm not ranking, my #1 place. Now, #2, Salto de Praga waterfall. That was the one that had the very hard walk, but it was incredible. I loved every second of it. Not so much the walk in the beginning. The walk in the beginning was hectic, but it gets to a certain point, and then like you're in the middle of like a forest, and you're walking through, and it's really beautiful. And once you get to the waterfall itself, it's worth it. It was incredible. Right, next on my list, Cascada de Ribeira Quante. Those were the 3 waterfalls that were all together, the one that we had to park on the side of the road and then have to walk to. And the other 2 that we saw were by chance. We didn't know they were coming until we drove past them and we were like, whoa! They literally were down the road. And this was like a 15-minute walk to get to the waterfall. And it was
that one, okay. I was thinking of a different one.
Oh, yeah. Do you know which one I'm talking about now?
Walk under the bridge.
Walk under the bridge, yeah, like on the highway. Yeah.
That was your third thing.
Well, yes, that was my third rate thing. I love that. I love that you got the 3 waterfalls all in one area.
I would have thought the valley one would have been better for you.
I don't know which one that is.
The one where it's like its own little park, but you don't have to pay.
Oh, we're getting onto that. That one. We're getting onto
That's
that.
all the way down there.
Yes.
Christ.
Next on my list is Dom Beja. Now that was a full-on experience. So that is it's a natural hot spring, but they've also modernized it. So there's certain areas and pools, and there's lighting, and each pool has different features. It was a whole experience. We went there in great timing because we got a little bit of the end of daylight, and then it transitioned into the nighttime. We went at 8:30. And
But you only get an hour slot.
You only get an hour, but an hour was enough
Yeah.
It was an experience. It was also the first hot spring we had gone to, and honestly, it was worth its money. That was a highlight. I absolutely loved it. Next on my list was the whale watching and dolphin watching. Now, I think this is because this is our first successful one. If we had other experiences of successful trips, I don't know how high I would have ranked that. But we saw lots of different things, and the people who were on the boat were great. They told you about the different animals. They explained different features about them, the ones that we saw, the common animals that you get to see there, and they just wanted you to learn. They were very helpful, very kind, and that was a great experience. Would you rank that highly?
Yeah, but it's also it's the most expensive thing we did.
It was.
I think it's 50 quid.
53-ish.
About between 50 and 55 quid each. So it is an expensive experience, but if you get to see a whale, then it's worth it.
I think if we didn't get to see at least one whale, I would be like, because seeing dolphins to me isn't that impressive. It's incredible, but
the dolphins are better to look at than a whale.
Yes, I would say the common dolphins were incredible for me. But I've seen many dolphins in my lifetime coming from South Africa, and we used to go to the beach on our holiday, and there would be dolphins. It's common. But seeing the whale and then having the baby little dolphins, that was a highlight for me. That was incredible. All I needed was a sunset. If that was at sunset or sunrise, I would have been done for. That would have been top of my list. Okay. Next up for me was the two Furnace Lakes. I couldn't choose between them. And that's Lagoa de Congro and Furnace Lake with the calderas. The Lagoa de Congro was the quick, half an hour loop walk. And that lake really reminded us of the one in Japan. It's beautiful, and it was so quiet, so peaceful. It was lovely. As I said in that video, if you go back and watch, just do the first walk straight up and down. Don't try doing the loop. It's not worth it. And the Furnace Lake with the calderas, honestly, so much better than I was anticipating. There's so much to see there. There's so many, the landscape changes into different themes as you walk around. And at the end, you get the calderas. It was lovely.
Yeah, one side's definitely better than the other.
Yes, the one side is they got sculptures, they got things to see, they got swings, there's a lot to do on the other side. If you come the side that's closest to the houses, that's pretty boring. But the one side was a lovely walk. And it wasn't hectic, it was very, there's no steep, it was an hour of calm walking.
It's all flat.
Yeah, all flat. It was
2 hours.
Did it take us 2 hours?
I think the whole walk was 2 hours.
Oh, well, we're probably dilly-daddling. But I've included in that is going up to the point and looking down where you can take the picture, because that was a beautiful view. Stunning pictures, and there's pink flowers and that along it. That was stunning. Next up on my list is the waterfall Nick was talking about. So it's called Parque Natural de Ribeiras dos Calderos. And that is the free park. You're laughing at my Portuguese.
I don't know.
I am actually Portuguese, but I can't say it because my mom never told me Portuguese. And that's the park with the waterfalls, and it had the moles in it, and it had 2 waterfalls, but you could actually walk to other waterfalls. That was beautiful.
There's technically 7 in that area, but some are small.
Oh, well,
they've got 3 big ones.
3 big ones.
And then a lot of small ones.
And it was just a lovely area. If you went there and ate lunch and spent a good time walking, because you can do walks from there, that would be a great day adventure.
It's the kind of place you expect to park up and have to pay to go in, but it's not.
Yes, because I would have paid. I would have paid €10 to get in there.
It's like a proper maintained park area. In a valley.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was so beautiful, and it had a vibe to it.
But if you go at the right time of the year, you'll get all the flowers, because we had no flowers.
We had none of the hydrangeas, so we went at a poor time of year.
If you want to see flowers.
Yeah, if you want to see the flowers, but I also think if you do go during that time, expect it to be
a lot
busy. Whereas when we went, which was end of May, it was very calm. A lot of the walks we went on was just Nick and I, except for the Sete Cidades, which was where we saw the most people. And the Dom Beja was also quite busy, but not oversaturated. None of the pools felt like you couldn't move, you could move around and do your thing. Right, next up is Ponte de Ferreira. And that was the natural hot spring on the outskirts of the sea.
Oh, the sea one. Yeah.
Now that was a highlight for me because I've never experienced anything like that, and it was also natural. You literally walk into the ocean. As you get in, you start feeling like the cold ocean water, and then like these areas of hot. And I think in that video I show a clip because Nick didn't really go to the really hot side, but as soon as you went down to the really hot side, honestly, it was like my bath water. It was boiling. It was so nice. I could have stayed there for longer, but there was a lot of people, and the waves are crashing on you, and you got to embrace each wave. But that was an experience. That was 10 out of 10 for me. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was good. There's only 2 places in the world you can experience something like that, apparently. I think
Really?
It was somewhere in Asia is the other one. I think it might be the Philippines or Thailand.
I also didn't expect it to be that hot because
I didn't expect it to be that hot.
they kept telling us to go in certain hours,
Yeah.
and we didn't even go in the hours that we were advised
They
to go
say
in.
to go low tide because obviously you haven't got as much seawater coming in. But we went, I think it was 2 hours before, 3 or 2 hours before low tide, and it was still hotter than I expected.
Yeah. And after that, we went to a place, I can't remember what beach it was, and we got a sunset there, and they have a little like burger joint.
Steve's Sunset Bar, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, Steve's Bar. That was so lovely. That was a beautiful sunset, and they have like that whole area just has a vibe about it. I would highly suggest doing that if you are going to go to the
Why didn't you write it down?
hot spring, because it's not part of my top 10.
I can find you what it was called, the area.
Now my last one.
Hang on, I'm here.
Oh right, sorry, he's getting the area.
Mosteros is the best place to go for sunset.
Sunset, and that was really close to Ponta da Ferreira.
Yes.
Yes. Right, my last one, technically 2 because I couldn't choose, was Furnace Park that takes you to the Caldeiras. That is one of the best parks I've ever seen, I've ever been to. I loved that was an experience for me. It was so well maintained. It was beautiful. You had the water crashing. There was a little aquarium on the side, and then you walk up and you see the Caldeiras. That was incredible for me. But I like seeing stuff like that. I like pretty parks and beautiful flowers and landscaping.
It's a very small park.
Oh, it's tiny. It's a 10-minute walk.
With a little outdoor aquarium in it.
Yes, but it's so well done. And then it takes you to the little hot pockets.
Yes.
Which was stinky, but also incredible to see. And the last one I have on there is a rogue one for me, because I'm normally not into this type of stuff. But I said the Ponta Delgada Church at night.
Well, yeah, something I haven't seen before.
It was
crazy.
It was incredible. Imagine Christmas time in London, but all congested on one church. It was incredible. It was so beautiful. And yeah. That's my top 10. Do you have anything else you would add? The whole island, there's so much to do. I can't explain. There's so much to do. If I was going again, there's not one thing I would have taken off the list.
There wasn't a bad experience that we had.
No. We missed out on a few views because we were stuck in the clouds, which...
There's only 3, so it was all on the eastern side view, so all you see is cliffs, like sea.
I've missed out something huge!
What?
Something huge. A walk that took us down.
What, the Lake Furnace? No, it wasn't
No.
Lake Furnace. What was that lake called?
I don't know, look it up. This is what we did on our our last day.
It's the biggest
that takes
lake.
you down to the beach. I don't know why I missed this out. That was an experience. That was incredible. You basically walk down to a lake, walk around the lake, and there's a little beach area, and we had a picnic there.
Lagoa de Fogo, you did have that.
Oh, did I have that?
You've explained the wrong thing for the...
Oh, I did.
Yeah, that's that one.
Oh, I actually missed that.
Oh, you didn't
I didn't say it. Lagoa de Fogo. That was actually my top 4. And that was incredible. That's the one where you have to walk down, and it's beautiful, the landscaping, but then you have to walk along the edge of the lake, and then there's a little beach picnic area.
I'd say it's the most difficult walk that we did.
Yes.
Because you're literally...
walking on the edge. You're climbing. It's a hike.
It's not a path.
Yeah.
You're climbing over rocks and things like that just to try and get around. And you're skirting around the lake to get to the beach.
Not only that, you then are skirting around people who are trying to go in the opposite direction.
Yeah, so you've got to try and... If someone's coming the other way, you've got to step off to the side, let through.
Yeah.
It's an experience.
It was an incredible experience, and I would do it again, even though I know how hectic the walk back up is.
Yes, it's a very steep walk up.
It was, yeah, that was a difficult walk, but it was also worth it. It was beautiful. And you have walking down, you have the view the entire way, and the water is just so beautiful. Plus, once you get to have the picnic area, it was stunning. Yeah. Those are my top must-sees. If you ever get a chance to go to Azores, please do watch our videos, take our tips into consideration, and also let us know.
I would say definitely hire a car.
Yes.
That's a must.
I wouldn't bother going and getting, like tours. Because then you are just in with a group of another 20 people doing the same walk, and that I think just gets boring.
Well, it's not that. It gets really busy on the tours because they all end up arriving at the same place at the same time.
Yeah.
And you're set, so you've paid for a tour on a set day, and if the weather isn't good on that day,
yeah, you're screwed.
You can't see anything. So having a car, there was a couple of days where the weather changed, so we changed our plans for that day to do something that the weather was better on the island, because you can get around the island. You can do the whole island within like an hour or two. It's a small enough island, so you can change your plan to go somewhere complete other end of the island to where the weather is better.
The weather is very temperamental, because some mornings we woke up and it was like cloudy and overcast, and then by like 10 o'clock in the morning, or you just go to the other side of the island, it's boiling hot and clear.
But there's, on the Visit Azores website, there's webcams, so you can see the weather in all the major places on the island.
Yeah, that's a great point. Which, if before we went to different places, we were looking at it. But then also, again, some of the places that we went to, and it was clear where we were, by the time we got up to the top of the mountain, we were stuck in the middle of clouds. Yes. And in other cases, we're lucky. But those were all en route to something else. It's not like we were going out of our way to go and view those places, except for the one, which was the highest point of the island, which we got stuck in the clouds.
No, we weren't in the cloud, we were above the clouds.
Oh, we were above the cloud, yes.
So we still had some view, but it was a view of clouds.
Yeah, yeah.
You haven't mentioned the tea plantation.
Because that wasn't one of my top places.
Or the pineapple places.
Also not one of my top must-sees. It was an incredible experience, but it wasn't one of my... If that's all you had, if you only had a limited amount of time, that would be my top ones to see. The tea wasn't an experience, and that's honestly the best tea I've ever tasted in my life. I'm not a tea drinker. I don't like tea, and I drank about 5 cups of tea. It was so good. I even made Nick buy tea for his mom. Their tea was so good. The pineapple plantations, they were okay. The pineapple tarts, that was incredible. The pineapple plantations were okay. They were interesting. I didn't know that about pineapples at all. The how they plant them and then have to burn them and to get them growing, and how long it takes to actually grow a pineapple. But if I had limited amount of time, I would give that a skip.
Yes.
We also went to an incredible sushi restaurant, which I will put in the pictures. I mean, I will detail down below what its name is. I don't remember what its name is. And I would say restaurant really loosely. It was like an area of different stalls, like a food...
It's in a food hall area.
A food hall area. But that sushi was banging. It was so good.
So yeah, make sure you hire a car. And where would you suggest staying?
Where would I suggest staying?
Area-wise. Obviously, Furnace.
Oh, I would go to all 3. I wouldn't bother staying in one area. I would go to all 3.
Yeah.
Because what's the point of just staying in Furnace?
I'm not saying do that. I'm saying I don't think we needed to go to 3.
Oh.
You can either go Furnace and Ribeira Grande, or Furnace and...
Ponta Delgada.
Ponta Delgada, yeah.
I would have done the Furnace and Ponta Delgada, because there's so much more to do in those areas at night than Ribeira Grande.
Yes.
But if you are moving your car and having to bring your car back to Ponta Delgada,
yeah, that's true.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
But there is a lot more to do there.
Mm-hmm.
I would have given Ribeira Grande a skip.
You're the reason we didn't go Ponta for as long.
Yes, I am the reason. We actually, which I'm really glad never happened, Nick and I, we came a bit late to booking our hotels, and we were really struggling. And we were going to have to stay at the second hotel, the Hotel Verde Mar and Spa, the one that was like extortionary price. We would have actually stayed there for 5 nights, and then Nick said, let's just try out somewhere in Ponta Delgada and found the hostel. And I'm so glad that never happened, because like I said, that was my lowest rated hotel, and I just don't, like, the one in Ponta Delgada was so much better. But yes, I was the reason that we didn't stay in Ponta Delgada longer. And that is because we had read blogs that had told us that Ponta Delgada was really unsafe. Now, coming from South Africa, Ponta Delgada is nothing. It's a nursery school. Coming from the UK, I think you're a bit more...
No, we didn't notice anything.
I was going to say, yeah.
We were there on we arrived on festival day. It was absolutely manic.
Yes.
We saw nothing bad
Yeah.
at all. It was perfectly fine.
Yeah. That blog threw us off.
Yes.
That blog said a lot about crime and drugs. We didn't see any of that.
It's not like we'll go swan around late at night. But...
No, and also that's not our place. We wouldn't go looking for that anyway.
No.
But you would think during a festival or a festa, it would have a lot of that around, and we never saw any of that. Yeah.
Nice and safe.
That's that. We need to do a one day proper ranking of all the holidays we've been on and give them criteria. Because now I say Azores is probably like one of my top holiday spots, but it's been ranked unfairly against other places that we've been to. We need proper criteria, and then we're going to have to do a video like that.
It won't work.
It won't work for us because Nick has different opinions. Nick's favourite one that he's been to is Bali, and then your second one is Florida.
No, Florida's first.
Florida's your number one.
Yeah.
Guys. Mine is like Azores and Bali, and then I go Japan, and then I go Florida, because Florida was incredible, but I loved Japan. Nick didn't love Japan as much as I did. He thought it was average, but he also can't deal with crowds.
Too busy.
So completely different person. Whereas I was like in my element. That was a dream. One of my dream locations, and we finally lived it. I would go back there. I want to do the top half of Japan, because we only did the bottom. Japan, incredible. Okay, anyway. That's the end of the Azores. We see you for our next one. Our next one actually starts in 2 weeks' time. Not even 2 weeks. It's like a week and a half. We start our European road trip. So say goodbye to Pickle. This is the end of Pickle. You're not going to see him for a bit. You want to say goodbye? Okay, you say goodbye. Say goodbye. Bye. He's going to go stay in his own hotel. But Nick and I are going on our European road trip. So we'll see you soon. Toodaloo for now. You want to say goodbye?